So the CPI data has come out bullish, but was this whole thing priced in? Did we see the move today with them pushing these green candles into the CPI data? Was that a sign? So guys, we're going to talk about the CPI stuff because I actually think longer term, this is actually quite a bullish play for crypto in spite of the short-term move down. And we're going to see if some of these altcoin setups that I gave you yesterday are going to be teeing off for potential bounce plays here. So we've got tons to talk about here. Another wild day in crypto. Let's get right into this. Guys, and don't forget, if you're enjoying the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, and who knows what's coming here, but this stuff is a wild space we are in. It's a wild space. And Banter Bubbles, look, talking relatively nicely. Stacks, that was a trade. I hope you guys got that Stacks yesterday. I am out of Stacks. I have temporarily shorted that one now, hopefully at the top of that candle. So Stacks was a great move, guys. Let me know in the chats if any of you took that Stacks trade with me yesterday. Are we performing? Are they a nice little play? What is OM and why is this thing up 10%? Taro down 5.8. Okay, that makes sense. That was a massive pumper recently, so maybe a new entry coming on that. And then Bonk, you see at the bottom there, Bonk had a massive pump on that CTI news and then a CPI data and then a massive pullback. But I still think we've got a Bonk trade getting teed up here for us. So there's so much going on. But let's start with the current situation. And you can see right now, BTC on the 15 minutes, dipping straight into the 382. Now, we visited the 382 yesterday and got a fair reaction. Actually, no, we didn't. We got a small reaction off that 382 yesterday. Then they sent us a little bit lower. Now, today, we've had a beautiful ride into this current CPI news. What did they do? They pinged 59,500 one more time. I'm going to show you on the daily how beautiful that looks at the moment. And now they've sent us back down. This is our first actual bounce zone here. We on 57,590. So this is your bounce zone number one that you're going to be looking at for BTC. Then the next level of interest for me, if they are going to bleed us down, 56,950. This is now another zone of interest for me. This is that 0.5 level tied in with tons of horizontals. And then just no real changes to yesterday. 56,300 is the next one that I'm going to be paying attention to. So these are going to be TP zones because I caught a sneaky short on that BTC pump. And Ray's going to be very happy with that current situation. So I'm going to show you now what is going on. So downside, just to confirm, 57,590, 56,950, 56,300. These are all reaction zones, bullish reaction zones for me while we let the market digest. Now, remember, the S&P is also busy falling over at the moment. So they're not just picking on crypto. Here's the current situation. So this is me in Prime XBT. And we got that little pump there on BTC. I grabbed the short. I didn't get the full one BTC short. I only got half. I was actually expecting a little bit of a push higher into that region. So I've taken this opportunity now to add to my sol position. You can see there, I'm still sitting in that sol long for yesterday. I added a little bit to that sol position on the weakness. Obviously, the bull in me is looking for some kind of bounce here on these altcoins. So I've added to that one. And then for shits and giggles, and Ray's going to love this one, I shorted ADA. So I'm going to give you that ADA chart because I think it's actually at a resistance band at the moment, and I don't think it's a bad play. I don't think it's a bad option if this market is going to fall over. So we have seen some ADA strength of late. So let's see how that is going to play out. So I'm going to give you that full setup for you guys. And I see Haman said he sold the hamster to buy some Celestia. Hopefully he didn't sell the top there for that Celestia action. So what is going on here? What's happening in the news? So CPI data came out. Okay, there was lots of thought behind this, and there was lots of debate as to what was going to happen if the price came out. And the warning I gave you guys yesterday, and hopefully you took it to heart, and I told the Sniper Club guys this as well. If you get a push into the CPI news, if the price starts rising into the CPI news, based on history, we've often seen that as a sell the news event. Now, the last couple of CPI situations that we've had, we've been bleeding onto supports leading into CPI, and then we've had these massive pumps. So it made sense that if we were pushing into CPI, there was a potential short opportunity or a sell the news event brewing. So, as that is, CPI actually came in bullish. So 3%, they beat the forecast by 3.1, and they smashed the previous by 3.3. And look at that CPI on the month to month, they're negative 0.1. So that is ultra bullish news there. And I mean, funny enough, we're going to get to that now, but look at the S&P. It's absolutely falling over. It's literally a thing of beauty here, because I've got a tweet from JP Morgan and some of these guys that we looked at yesterday. And I said to you guys, this stuff never plays out. I said, I don't even know why we talk about this. We laughed about this shit, because we said these guys never actually get it right. And what they were saying yesterday was, if CPI comes in on the month to month below 0.1%, they want to see the S&P gain 1 to 1.75%. Now, let's just confirm. How's their day going? Okay, so the day's not over yet, okay, but just another strike. These guys should come talk to us, and we should give our predictions there. So that S&P is busy falling over at the moment. And, well, you know the news now, that CPI came in pretty bullish there. And now we can see the rate futures price in 85% chance of a September Fed cut rate. Now, that is now increasing as well. So now the guys are betting we're going to get the September cut in the rate. So, you know, CPI stuff, we're going to talk about this now. I'm going to look at these charts more in depth, but a little bit other things in the news. Now, are you guys joining me at the Bitcoin conference? Me and Sheldon are going there. Some of the Sniper Club team and a lot of guys are going to be at some of the Banter crew are also going to be at the Bitcoin conference. So I'm looking forward to seeing Donald Trump. I believe he's going to be talking there. So guys, don't forget, we're going to be there. If you want to hang out with us, come to the Bitcoin conference. We'll be around, and we might be wearing similar gear. And then some bullish things coming out here. The CFTC chair. Are you coming to Nashville, bro? Are you coming to Nashville? Come hang out. Come hang out with Ray. The last time I went to a Bitcoin conference with Ray, I got him to hit that massive gong, and he basically disrupted the entire conference. Maybe he's going to do it again for us. So the CFTC chair says 70 to 80% of cryptocurrencies are not securities. Okay, a little bit of bullish things coming out there at the moment. So that is nice to see. You know, there's a lot of bullish things falling into place at the moment. And what is going on here? This is a bar chart. They said sell in May and go away. Think again. And they're saying since May the 1st, the S&P 500 has closed green 75% of the time and is currently on a 7-day winning streak. Now, is this not a sign of the top? Okay, this thing came out yesterday, and you know, we were looking at the CPI data coming out, and then we've got Game of Trades giving you guys an interesting point. He's also calling, you know, maybe this is the top of the S&P, and maybe this is a moment. So go read his thread here, Game of Trades. But he's basically said stock market's rising, transportation sector is declining. Okay, this is a major warning signal. Now, if you read his thread, he's going to explain to you what happened here previously in March 2000. So take a look. When we had a similar situation here, that was the top of the S&P. So now we've got these guys calling the winning streak, okay, turning over. We've got these guys telling you it's going to pump, JP Morgan, and then we've got this data coming out here that's saying that's a potential top. So we're going to have to see how this S&P is going to now play out, but we'll be ready. Okay, I've tried to short the S&P a couple of times, and I've decided I'm not going to short this freight train at the moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this basket. I'm going to wait for this thing to drop in a nice little zone for us. So let's just get our levels right here on the S&P, because there's going to be an opportunity where we can long the S&P using Prime XBT. So we can send crypto to Prime XBT, convert it to dollars, and then we can long the S&P. So these are my hot zones that I'm going to be looking at for some kind of bounce here on the S&P. And I must say, we're looking super juicy down here. We've got a little gap at 5,360. Look at this little gap here. Okay, I'd love to see this gap get filled. We've got the 50-day moving average. Believe it or not, it works on the stock market too. And we've got a 618 pull at 5,360. So that would be incredible if we get a long here at, say, 5,350, somewhere in that region. But I would think if the S&P starts melting down, the brakes will come on round about 5,468. So we'll be able to long this thing on one of these areas. I'm definitely going to test both of them, but we're going to be able to long this on Prime XBT. So there's two platforms on Prime XBT. So if you want to get ready for a long on the S&P, download Prime XBT. There's a link in the description there, and we're going to get this one together. Now, I'm not shorting this S&P. It's smashed me a couple of times, and we're just going to wait for this thing to land in this little basket. So just be patient. I think we're going to get a trade here. I think we're going to get a long eventually on that S&P. So something good to look forward to there. And then the German government, this is from Jay. He says these guys nuked 30,000 BTC over the last 2 days. They are only down to 9K. Okay, so the pain of the Germans is finally going away. Okay, these guys are nearly done selling all their BTC. Can we just start moving up now? Okay, so a little retracement here, and then we'd like to see a little push higher. And what is the liquidation map telling me? Well, I mean, look, we can see the bulls are back in, and I mean, it's looking quite interesting here. They both it's sort of neutral at the moment, but levels higher up are still like 61,600. Nice little cluster up here. That's going to cause a lot of havoc for some of the bears. But coming to the downside, if we start looking at this cluster here now, down to about 55,000, looks like an interesting zone that could potentially be hit here. So let's just go a little bit lower, look at 55,000 here, and that is going to take us to that 786. Now, we've seen the 786 hit a couple of times in the last few weeks on BTC. Is this 55,000 going to play out? So that would tie in quite nicely with that liquidation map. So that is definitely something you want to pay attention to. It's just something, a little area you want to mark on your chart. So that is that. And then earlier today, I was giving out a prediction, basically, to the Sniper Club. I dropped this chart in there. I was just telling them, you know, if we get bullish CPI data, what was I looking at on BTC? And I just highlighted this little region here. And for me, it was just a typical move into resistance. It was another fake out of that 200-day MA, and then a nice little push into major resistance for us, which was that 59,850 region. That used to be our support. I was super bullish on that support for many days. You can see we had great bounces off this region, and we eventually lost that. And when you lose that type of support, that typically is going to be very difficult to break, especially the first time. Maybe the second time also a bit of a challenge here. So now we've had 2 attempts at this 59,850, and we currently remain bearish. As long as we are under this downtrend, we are under the 200-day MA, we cannot get too bullish on BTC. That is just factually what is in front of us. And remember, the last time, for those of you that didn't watch, the last time we moved under the 200-day MA, we spent 63 days under the 200-day MA, getting chopped around, slapped around, abused, and all these types of things. And that is obviously not something we want to see, but we are still under this 200-day MA. Ferdy, let's go. Okay, so what am I looking at on the daily time frame? You can see this 55K level is interesting. It's a bigger 618 pool for us. So also tying in nicely with that little liquidation map that I've given you guys, 55,700 give or take in that region is interesting to me. So let's see if we do start pushing lower into that region. I would like a bounce in there. I don't want to go deeper. I don't want to go darker than that. And you know, if we look at the bigger picture here, that CPI data is actually bullish. Okay, so these guys are selling the news. Okay, we've pumped into it. They're selling the news. Let things settle a little bit. I think that things are actually going to be okay here. So, you know, at some point we will have another attempt at that 200-day MA. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Ray. And we're going to look for that break of trend, and then we're going to turn super bullish, and this bullhorn is going to be going insane after that. Okay, let's catch up with things like dominance. This was a big one for me that I was watching, and the target is still in place. So you might have noticed your altcoins on that BTC pullback, they actually seem to be holding okay at the moment, and that is because dominance is busy dropping. So dominance has been in a clear little downtrend here. You can see we are drifting lower, and we're looking for this bounce zone here at 54.2. Now, what happened to this bounce zone? We know we should get some kind of reaction here on dominance. That could be a nice green candle on dominance. Now, what are we looking for? If Bitcoin is falling over, that green dominance candle is going to destroy your altcoins. But if this thing is pumping with a Bitcoin pump, then your alts should be okay. They should actually start drifting a little bit higher. So just pay attention at 54.2. If we start getting that bounce, let's see if it's tied in with a little BTC pump there. And then these alts should be okay. And now let's get into some of these trades from yesterday. I got a lot of updates from yesterday, and we do have 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝐻𝑜in on the table as well. Ray was chatting to me about 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝐻𝗏𝗏𝐿. There could be something happening there. So I've pulled out the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝐻𝗏𝗏𝗏 chart for you guys too. And we're going to look at that one. So, Sure. Bro, your time frames. I can't work with your time frames there, right? I like to look at the slightly bigger picture there, but we're going to look at Altcoin shortly. Okay, so ETH on the 3-day, all is well. Okay, if you look at it on the 3-day, we are sitting on 2,850. No changes here to our major support level. Okay, if ETH is going to move down there, BTC is going to 55K. It's going deeper. It's going darker if we are going there. But what you can see, the big one for me is this 200-day MA, and we are still dancing around that. So I've zoomed in again for you guys for ETH, and no changes to our support level from yesterday. Okay, so 3,070 is still the support level that I gave you guys yesterday that we were watching. We had a little reaction. We had a close above that level yesterday. And then earlier today, Sniper Club members, I dropped this chart in my section. I gave a couple of targets here for ETH based on, the CPI situation. And the first level, 3,220, that is now pinged. Nice little rejection. That would have been a nice little TP zone for you guys if we pumped into that area. And for the bears, that obviously naturally would have been a nice little short area for you guys. So that was our target. That is now being pinged. And until we reclaim that, we can't get too excited. So number one, we want to float around this area, okay? We want BTC to start behaving here. If we're holding 3,070, you can see on this chart, we'll be dancing around this region. That would be nice. Just let the market settle a bit, and then we can have our next attempt at that 3,500 level. So for me, short-term stuff, I'm watching 3,070, maybe a little wick just below that. But bigger picture traders, 2,840, 2,850, you are good there. That is good support for us, and nothing to be too stressed about at the moment. If the CPI had come in really bad, okay, let's say the CPI came in hot, then I'd be saying, guys, okay, we need to start looking at some much lower levels here. But it's a good start. Let the market digest the current situation, and maybe in the next, next 12 to 24 hours, we should be okay. Now, here we go, Solana. Now, am I going to get stopped out on my current sol position? This is a major test area for me. This was the area that I marked yesterday. Why was this important to me? It's the 200-day MA, it's the 382 fib, it's the horizontals, and it's the rising trend, okay? Now, I've added to my sol position roughly in this region here. I'm expecting, or I would like, okay, I'm not expecting, I would like some kind of bounce in this area. If the bulls could be kind to me and the market makers would be kind, they will bounce my Solana in this region. Let's just take a look at the current trade. And oh, this thing is bleeding out properly now. So let's take a look. You can see here's my current sol situation. Are they going to round trip me? Are they really going to punish me like this? Let's just check our levels here, and let's just confirm our big zones of support. I just want to make sure we are fully aligned here. Okay, so I don't want to lose the 200-day MA. I don't really want to lose this trend. So anything down to say 137.4 looks okay here for me. Let's take a look at this trade. My average entry is 136.3 and my stop is at 135.3. Okay. So we're going to let that play out. Okay, I'm going to leave this as is. I want that 200-day to hold for me. If it doesn't hold for me, we're going to have to dig around. We're going to have to sniff around for a new Solana entry. And for me, that most likely is going to be a visit to this little 618 pool at 134. So let's keep our eyes on that, 134. And if they ping me out, nice little round trip. Always enjoy a little round trip here. And then 134.7. is going to be the next marker that we are going to be looking for. So let's see how that is going to play out. And then here goes Pepe. Okay, so this was my plan from yesterday, Pepe on the 4-hour, and I've now taken a Pepe long. Okay, I've started a starter position on Pepe, but you can see we're already drifting down into my potential stop area. So you just want to pay attention to this region here. This is that 382 that I'm watching very closely here. So this is going to be 0 point or multiple zeros 9. Okay, if we start losing that area, that's a potential cut zone there on Pepe. Let's just check this current situation here. Okay, let's just put in a stop here. I haven't put in a stop here, guys. We don't want to get rinsed. So we're going to put in stop loss price 0.009. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to cut a portion of that position. I'm going to cut half if we lose that 0.009. Okay, that's a good start there. And then this Pyth position has a stop loss in play. So that is okay. Okay, so we're going to leave that to do its thing. Let me just adjust this under these wicks here. Okay, so if we're going to lose these wicks, that's going to trim half my position. Then we can carry on with the show. We can still be very happy. And then we'll reassess and see how that thing is bouncing. So for me, there is a potential Pepe trade here. This was the setup from yesterday, and it's pretty much doing what we wanted. We wanted that trend break. We wanted that rejection. And now we are moving into the range lows, this tight little range low. This is an area of interest for me. So take a look there if you guys are interested, and just watch out. This little wick over here, there is a wick they might want to visit, 893. And then we've got the 618 at 852. Okay, so these are all potential bullish zones here for Pepe. Watch that one, 852. That could come into play as well. So if you do get stopped on this one, these are your potential bull zones here. I do expect the CPI data is bullish. I do expect a little pullback here and then maybe some kind of bounce here on some of these altcoins. So watch these three levels closely. There could be a nice little opportunity coming for you guys shortly. Then the next one is Phantom. Are we going to get our entry that I gave you guys yesterday? So we looked at Phantom on the bigger picture. We identified, okay, number one, we know this is a big resistance zone for Phantom, and you can see why. This is a major weekly support zone. We are now banging into it. We are rejecting on this. You saw the same on Celestia. You saw the same on AVAX. You saw same on a ton of other tokens. So Phantom is now sitting at a resistance area, and we are now moving into our first potential bullish trade zone. So if you are feeling overall bullish on the market, dominance is holding up for us, and things are looking okay, we are potentially moving down now for Phantom into our first entry zone. So that entry zone is 0.45. So you're going to be watching this one closely. And yesterday I gave you a strategy on how you can trade this. So number one, if you're a leverage trader, you're a high leverage trader, for example, you're an absolute degen like Bogdan and some of those other guys that I know watch the show, 0.45, you're looking at a tight stop there. You're looking at about, say, about a 2%, somewhere in that region. And what do you want to see out of Phantom? You just want to see it trickle into that zone. Let's just draw a little picture for you guys. You want to see it just drift nicely into this region here, maybe a little wick just under this 382, and then you're looking for that move higher. So ideally, you want to start laddering into this position as it dips into the zone. You want to ladder in. You don't want to go in your full size right at the top of the position. You can maybe stagger it, maybe 3 or 4 buys going down into that 382 with a nice tight stop. But remember, your last buy is going to be like a 0.5% stop. Your risk is going to be absolutely minimal, and you're going to be looking for that type of bounce there of 0.45. Then lower down, there's a second trade. If there is more weakness in the market, we generally expect that 618 to hold if the market's going to remain bullish. So you're going to be looking at 0.42. Okay, that's for the leverage traders. Now, if you're trading spot or you're trading low margin, you're happy to build a position, you're happy to sit in a position for a couple of days while you see how this thing makes its mind up, you can start laddering into your position. Buy number one is going to be on this 382. Buy number two is going to be on the 618 fib lower down. So that's 0.45 and 0.42, just above 0.42. And then the idea here is things remain bullish. BTC bounces off either that 0.5 that I gave you or that lower level, and then we start churning higher. So that is how I would expect this trade to play out if things are going to remain bullish. So just be patient, okay? If you were patient enough to wait for your entry yesterday and you didn't jump in early, now you're going to be rewarded because you're going to get the real entry now. And that real entry is always that dip into that 382 or that dip into that 618. So watch that one. And Nathan says, is it normal? Everything is going down after good news on the CPI. So Nathan, I don't know when you dropped this question, but I think I did answer it a little bit earlier there with you. In the past, in the history, we've seen dumps into CPI. People get super bearish. What happens? Data comes out. It's relatively flat or bullish. Market pumps. Okay, today was a unique situation because we had the candles churning green into the CPI news, and now they're just selling the news. So what I'm suggesting here is bullish news. It makes sense. Let the market digest a little bit. I think they've been pricing this in now for a few days, and now the market's just resetting and they're just adjusting their things. So there's a couple of options here for Phantom that you guys can look at. And then remember, typically in these type of situations, when we are looking at pullback buys, you often get something where you can start looking at a new trend. So you're going to be looking at something like this. Let's say it dips into the 382. You might have a situation where it just turns over there, heads down, and then you start getting this type of situation playing out for you. So you're going to no doubt see some kind of trend in this region here playing out for you. And then the bullish move would be off that 618. So just watch these types of scenarios playing out. If you, like I said, if you're a spot or margin trader, you don't mind sitting in a position for days while you let things play out, that could be for you. If you're a high leverage trader, you're looking for pings, 382, you're looking for a ping, 618, and then when you get to trend, you can naturally deal with that as you go. Okay, here's stacks from yesterday. I sincerely hope some of you guys got the stacks trade. I mean, the market's been very difficult at the moment, and it's nice to get a couple of movers. We had a nice tower trade the other day, and stacks was an absolute banger here for us as well. But now I think it's time just to settle, and I'm looking for a bullish retest here for stacks. So nothing too serious to panic about here. A little candle turning red, and that's nothing too bad. What I would say here is stacks traders, if you're looking for your entry, okay, most likely for me, it's got to be that 382, 1.529. Okay, so look out for there. Look out for a dip into this region. Okay, and then you will note, okay, if the market starts reversing now, you will note we do have some kind of interim support here. Now, it's not major support for me, but we do have support in this region here for stacks. So you could see this thing just fiddle around in this area for the next couple of hours and then start pushing higher. So there's a couple of ways to play this. Watch 1.6, watch the current region here. It could bounce off this level. If there's more weakness, it's telling us, you know, these things are going to dip lower. Can I help you?
You know what I'm watching? I'm watching the likes. And they need some support. They definitely need some support.
Guys, we got to pump the likes, okay? We don't want to dump the likes like Bitcoin. We want to pump these likes. So hit the likes if you're enjoying the content. And remember, in the chats, tell me what you guys want. I'm happy. I'm happy to listen to you guys. This is your show, not mine. And I mean, I'm just here to tell the jokes and draw the pictures. But, you know, it is ultimately your show. Okay, so stacks traders. Possible bounce here, 1.6. You can see there is some short-term support. Let's see if we've got our most bullish fib here. Let's see if we've got a 236 hanging around. Okay, remember the 236 you pull out in emergencies when things are super bullish and that type of thing. Let's see what they are giving us. Okay, there we go. There's your 236 fib, 1.594. Okay, so what I would suggest here, you start losing 1.594. You could expect to see 1.53 as your next potential bullish entry here for stacks. But overall, great trend break. It's showing there's interest now in stacks again. Is that a sign Bitcoin's going to maybe start recovering? Stacks should start front running that. This thing has been bleeding out for ages, and I think there could be some action on stacks here. So watching 1.59, lose that, then you're looking at 1.53. Those are my two sort of big bullish zones here that I would back for the next stacks play. Preparing for war. Spot. What was that comment there, Ray? Will you bring that one up again? It was aggregated spot buying is still on the rise. That's good. Contracts opening short, so high probability they'll get squeezed. Buy this little dip right here. I like this, man. I like this, man. Okay, that is what I'm saying. Okay, you know, CPI is bullish. You know, they're selling the news here. Let's see if we can get some kind of bounce. So stacks, yeah, potential play there. And here's my current stacks trade. So there, I'm short stacks at the moment. This was now just a scalper situation. I just thought this thing's pumped nicely. We made a nice trade on ZoomX yesterday. Here I am on CoinCatch. I've shorted stacks and just a hedge play. Again, I don't have conviction yet as to how deep I want to send this one. I'm going to leave it for now, and we're going to see how that's going to play out. So I'm trading this one on CoinCatch. Remember, a lot of these things, there's no KYC on these exchanges. They're offering you loads of sign-up things. All you need to do is just go into the description here under the show and sign up to one of these exchanges. Here's CoinCatch right at the top, waiting for you guys. And they're heavily incentivizing you. They got a 30% cash back deal using the link in this description here. So take a look at that. There are some T's and C's, but do the reading and have a look. And then let's get into ADA quickly. ADA. Where are my ADA girls?
Not here.
To the ADA girls' credit. Okay, ADA has been pumping. Okay, we got to give them credit for that. It has been doing a lot better than we expected. But what has it done? It's pushed into a nice horizontal band. Okay, so you can see this was just a typical area. So there's a couple of reasons I shorted ADA. Number one, because I hate it. Number two, because I know we just love to laugh about it. And number three, because it's pumped into a resistance band. Just like we saw with ETH, just like we saw with all these other tokens, they pushed into resistance. Bitcoin, all these other tokens, now they are rejecting. Okay, so potential shorts here. If the market falls over, this ADA is going to print the short all the way down to 0.37. Okay, that is what I'm going to be looking for on ADA. If this is going to carry on moving down, 0.37 is going to be my target. That is my bullish bounce zone. Okay, so that is typically now going to be my TP zone on ADA. So I'm watching that to currently play out. But what happens if the market turns bullish in the next couple of hours? Where do I think ADA can go? Well, there's a very simple plan here for you guys, especially for the ADA bulls out there. And what you're looking for is this little pop through this resistance. Okay, now remember, previous support, when it becomes resistance, what happens? You get rejected, and then sometimes they test this area, then you get that pop. Okay, the next potential target for you on ADA, 0.4147. Okay, then you're going to look for that little pullback, and then you're going to get that little retest buy that's going to play out for you. So there's two long options here on ADA. Number one, let's break the resistance first. Number two, pull back to 0.37. That should give you something. Now, guys, stick around. I'm going to tell you something about a trading platform here. If you guys want to test leverage trading and things like that, I've got something new for you guys that I can share with you. Here's Lido. Okay, so I had to go on Lido. We're going to check. We got to check how this one is going out. Looks like I've been stopped out then on Lido. This was my support market that I was watching. This is Lido now on the 8 hour, and this is the current situation. So I wanted to bring this to your attention again. We spoke about this yesterday, and a lot of the researchers, a lot of the guys are talking about Lido as a potential long now on ETH strength. Okay, so number one, we need ETH to really start playing the game. We want ETH to break that 200-day MA, and Lido is going to be an absolute runner when ETH does eventually decide to come to the party. So watching this one now closely, I had to go earlier on. My stop was at 1.6. Okay, 1.61. I've now exited that position, and what I'm watching here for Lido, rising trend in play. Okay, just like you've seen on Sol, we've got a rising trend. Ideally, we just want that rising trend to hold. We're just looking for this type of move here on Lido. Now, if you're trading spot, you're trading margin, these type of things, you can ladder into these positions if you are feeling bullish overall on the current situation. And I've given you my thesis, what I think is going to go on the market. And number one, you're going to watch for Lido to hold this rising trend. So you want to see it hold 1.58. Okay, if Lido's holding 1.58, we're looking for a bounce here in that region. And then we're just trying to churn a little bit higher. And then the upside target for me on Lido is unchanged, okay? And it's going to be heavily linked to ETH doing well, obviously. But this is our target. It's going to be pretty much 2 on the button is what you're going to be looking for on Lido. So if you are trading spot, you can start accumulating a position. If you're trading margin, something similar to that. If you're degen trading high leverage, look for an entry off this trend, see if you get that type of bounce. And remember the rule, if you start losing a trend, you generally want to just jump out, because most likely they're going to start sending you a little bit lower down. So just play that very safely. And remember, loss of trend is telling you the price was trending up, for example. Now we're losing that trend. They're going to start a downtrend down potentially. And then you could be in for a couple of days where things start going a little bit south for you. So just look out then for these lows here at 1.4. Is what I would suggest. Now, there's a new platform out here. There's a link in the description. I've just loaded it, and it's an interesting way that you guys can leverage trade. So if you're trading on exchanges, that's obviously one thing. You deposit your money and they give you leverage, and you get stopped out, you get liquidated or whatever, your money goes poof, and it just disappears. Well, there's another option now. There's this thing called Bitfunded. Okay, there's a link in the description, and basically what they are doing, they're giving you various tiers, but I've tried tier number 1. Now I'm yet to take my first trade. I'm going to try and get it to pass the test. But essentially what happens is you pay them $99. Okay, then you have to go and pass the test. You've got to take 2 trades. One of them needs to make 8%. The other needs to make 5%. Okay, and you've got a maximum drawdown level. If you pass that demo or that trade, then they give you $10,000 to trade with. They give you a $10,000 trading account, and you can trade on 5x using that account. And obviously, you get to keep, I think it's 80% of the returns that you make is yours, and the rest goes back to them. And it could be an interesting way if you are trying to get into leverage trading. It could be something you want to do. So this is called Bitfunded. You can see I've started my challenge, and they've given me my $10,000 demo account. So I've got to do the test. And here is the platform, and you can see they've loaded the money in for me here on the right hand side. And if I pass the test, now I've got to get an 8%, and then I think it was a 5%. If I pass the test, then they're going to give me that account, the real account that I can start trading with. So we'll wait when the time is right. We'll try and get a trade here when the time is right and bang on the button. But that is what I'm really looking for. I want to pass that test, obviously, and there's obviously endless opportunities here. So if you have your first go and it doesn't fail, you can try it again. You can try it again. Eventually, they'll give you your trading account, and they go up to big numbers here. I think they up to about a $20,000 trading account that they can give you. So something worth looking at. Take a look in the description if you are interested in something like that. And here is Bonk. And maybe this will be my first Bitfunded trade, Bonk. And we are dipping into an interesting zone. So we looked at 2 options yesterday. Option 1 was break the 50-day MA and retest. option 2 was reject at the 50-day MA and send it back down to our 382 bullish support zone. So right now, bonk is actually playing out exactly what we wanted it to do. And we're looking for a bounce here, multiple zeros, 2363. Okay, so if we get that little dip into that 382, we're looking for that little first buy there. We're looking for that bounce. And then look at this. Look at this little guy here. This is the 200-day moving average tied in with the 618 and tied in with like an area of interest here, multiple zeros, 215 for bonk. Okay, so I've got 2 potential big bounce zones here for bonk, depending on how deep they want to send Bitcoin. But I'm loving this multiple zeros, 2363. That looks like a nice little zone for us. And then we naturally want to break that region, and there'll be multiple trades after that as well. We'll be having the exact discussion when we do get back up to that region and looking for that break and retest again. So possible trade coming here for bonk. Watch that area closely. This is unchanged from yesterday. And we got to get out 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 as well. But here's 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Okay, so nice little pumper. And finally, we're getting our little retracement. This is the zone that I highlighted yesterday as a possible area of interest, 240. And we are slowly dipping into the zone. So I'm thinking either 𝗏𝗏𝗏 or bonk. I think I'm going to have a go on this Bitfunded. So we just got to wait. We just got to wait for it to hit our zone there. And I see a little bounce there on Bitcoin in the meantime. But I'd like to see these things settle on 382s before I get too excited about it. So watching 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 now on the 382 fib, that's 240. Okay, potential bounce coming there, 240, and then lower down, mark this one on your chart, 222. That's your next sort of bullish zone there, bullish zone of interest that you're going to be watching on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And here we go. Here's Link. And finally, after days of waiting for Link, and we are finally now in our zone. Okay, so this could be a little trade we could take now on this Bitfunded. I think we'll have a go. Let's see what our stop size is here. 1.6%. Okay, I'm going to have a crack here at Link, and this is a very easy exit. Okay, so this is a 1.6% exit plan for me if we lose these lows. 12.51. So let's see if we can open this trade. Let's go Link. Okay, let's go long. Bang. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to put my stop just under that zone. Let's just confirm where it is. 12.511. Okay, 12.511. Let's put it in under there. Okay, position is SL. Okay, there we go. Done. Let's just get this right. Let's get this right. We want to set it by price. Set by price. Okay, there we go. Okay, we'll have to figure that one out, guys. I'll figure that one out when I'm off the show here, but 12.511 is going to be my stop that I'm going to be putting in. You can see we're getting a bounce off that region, and let's see if it holds. Link does sometimes sing to its own hymn sheet here, and let's see if that plays out. Ideally, what you want to see here, little bounce on Link. It might just mess around for a couple of days, and then looking for something like that. But the tightest stop I can offer you, 12.511, and if we start losing this 382, you're most likely going to visit something around these wicks, 11.8, that sort of level. So just be prepared for a little bit of downside here if BTC doesn't bounce nicely for us. But okay, that Bitfunded trade is locked and loaded. And then I've got 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 for you. Now, Ray, are you short on this thing? What's going on here? Did you short?
Yeah, I took a short. Yep.
What is your entry?
My entry is 0.15799.
Okay, so, but you're running tight candles there. Eh? Wow, you're running tight candles there. Wow. Okay, so 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 interesting to me. We know this thing pumps, as you can see. Right now, there is a potential scalper long coming, but not until Ray Short's finished. So let me show you where I think this is interesting. The first zone, okay, not my best, but the first zone has got to be the 50-day MA, 0.01499. And when I say it's not my best, I like to see these things tie in together to give me the best area. And the next zone for me is 0.014. So ideally, I'd say something like that. Probably my best plan here. Probably my, my greediest entry with the tightest stop. I would say I'd have a look in that area, 0.01439. Okay, watch out that area. And then a little bit lower down, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 traders. Now, this thing is still bullish if it hits 0.01238. Okay, that's another potential option here for you. So it just depends how deep they want to send us? Okay, how deep and dark and dangerous do they want to take these altcoin traders? Or are they going to try and keep us interested? Or are they going to try and keep us involved here by bouncing at a 382 and just keep the fun going? And one more for you guys. I've got Injective, and this trade, I'm still sitting in Injective waiting for something to happen. If somebody can poke it with a stick or something, that would be quite pleasant for me. And right now it's back in our entry box. Now, not always a good thing. If something comes back into your entry box, sometimes you got to be a little bit more, a little bit more watchful. But, Injective now for the second time is back in our entry box. So what I can say to you guys, watch 19.64. Okay, this is a fib pool. Okay, this is our 382 fib. Nice little fib pool. We've also got a trend in play here on Injective. So take a look here. Let's just clean that up. What we're looking at, I don't want to go deeper than this 382. Okay, if we lose this 382, we bail off this trade, and Bitcoin might be going a little bit deeper. So 19.58 is the sort of limit of where I'd press this thing and look for some kind of bounce in that region. And then your stop option would be 19.42. And if you want to let it sweat a little bit more, there's a couple of candles here you can deal with. 19.1. Okay, so if it's going to remain bullish, you should get a bounce somewhere in this region here, and let's see how that plays out. Right, I've got some time, guys. Give me some tokens here. Daryl wants some dupe. That's a good one. Let's see what else we got. Render. Alina wants render, and Daryl wants some dupe. Let's look at some dupe. Okay, little bounce here for dupe. Let's see what it's bouncing on. This is dupe on the 4 hour. Okay, so the first thing we just want to check here, we can see a little bounce. Is it bouncing off a nice little zone here for us, or do we have to wait for a little bit lower? And it looks like we've just lost that 382. Let's see. We've got a fib pool from the low to the high. Okay, no, that's not bad. We got a 382 here on dupe. And I would say watch the support. This is a cute little area. So if you're sitting in dupe, if you start losing 0.743, okay, they're most likely going to take you to that 618. That's probably going to be your next reasonable area that you want to hunt. So I would say 0.7, okay, and the upside target is unchanged from me on dupe. I'm still looking for that 50-day MA. So if we do get a little bit of chop in the zone, look for something like that, and then a little push into that 50-day MA. So that is 0.92. That is interesting to me. And alternatively, if we're going to stay bullish here, I'm looking for a bounce 0.7. I'd like to see one of these two zones hold for us there on dupe, 0.7 or 0.7436. And let's just bang this out on the daily quickly, see what they are giving us. Okay, so we are in a clear downtrend still. And what we want to do is, we want a nice little bounce here. When we break that trend, then it's on. Okay, when we break this trend, I would say it's on. For the 50-day, I would say it's on for that 100-day MA. Right now, we got work to do, though. We really want to bounce here. These are the daily candles. Yeah, I want to see this bounce here. I don't want to see much lower than this 0.7. Okay, so that's pretty much where you want to be on dupe. Let's look at render. Now, render's looking bearish on the bigger picture. And we know there's something going down with render with a token swap and things like that. So we need to just be a little bit aware as to what is happening with render. But I'm sure the exchanges and everybody will swap that out quite nicely for you guys. I don't think there's anything too serious there, unless you are holding your render, say, in a different type of wallet. Maybe you just need to do some reading there. I would actually love Chaos to inform us here as to what is happening with render. But there's some kind of token swap or something happening. Right, so render, bigger picture, still super bearish. And you can see what happened. It actually pinged our first reaction zone. Look at that. So what did they do? They lost the trend, okay? Came back, pinged the rejection zone, and now they're slowly just sending this thing lower in some kind of downtrend. So what I would say with render, I would assume some of the selling or the lack of interest does have to do with this current token swap that they're doing, or whatever that situation is. The Injective guys are going to need to actually help us, and just the fundamental guys are going to need to help us and just explain exactly what is going on there, but do some reading on that. And look, render, I don't want to lose that low, 5.87. I don't want to lose that. And you can see this is a previously highlighted region, previously highlighted potential bounce zone here for us that we've got at 6.22. Okay, so you don't really want to go lower than that guy. Okay, you can see we're reacting here at the moment, 6.22. If we do lose that area, look out for 5.8. You're most likely going to be coming down, most likely going to visit that zone. And if things, hopefully we're going to get that cup of bounce there. But if things turn dark on render, stink bids, 4.9. 4.9 stink bid zone. Okay, stink bid is the one you put the limit order in at a disgusting level that you think it's never going to hit. And then you wake up one morning and you say, oh, I got liquidated on my trades, but look, I picked up renter on a limit order at a nice little level. And you know those mornings, guys. You know, I mean, I'm sure you guys know that feeling. You must know that feeling. If you're a leverage trader, where you open your phone and you refresh the screen and there's nothing there, and then you think, well, let me refresh it again, and then you realize, oh, they liquidated me. What is going on? But then that's where these stink bids come into play for you guys, and those things help very nicely. So always identify your good, solid stink bid zones. Those are always absolute bangers that you want to watch. I see Alan's in the chats, and he's talking ton memes. Yeah, guys, we got to do a session on ton memes. I know. I mean, we know resistance dog. That's the big one on ton at the moment. But we need to do a couple of buys there on some of these ton coins. So we'll get it around. We'll get round to it there. Oh, we'll get something going there for you. Okay, what else? Kijo's dad says Arkham. Let's look at Arkham. Okay, Arkham on KuCoin. Hopefully this is the correct one. Okay, bigger picture. Okay, so what I want to do, bigger picture, I just want to see where it is in relation to these big fibs. I want to see if we've got some kind of reaction on these zones. Okay, nothing yet on Arkham off these lows here. Okay, that's interesting to me. Then let's look for a trend. Okay, trend pressure. Trend pressure is good. Okay, trend pressure is always good. On the daily, okay, cool. Now we're just going to dial in. We want to see where's our support. If this thing's going to blow the trend, it generally needs to now remain bullish. It needs to hold some bullish zones here for us. And what do we got? So let's look at our fibs from the lows to the highs. Okay, bullish fib 382. Just lost it, hey? Ooh. We actually saw a similar situation. What was that other token we just looked at? Very similar. We had to pull that fib from the absolute lows there to these highs. Let's see. Okay, no, we have lost that 382. Okay, so that is something you want to watch closely now on Arkham. We want to reclaim this 382 quickly. Okay, you don't want to hang around here too long. You want to actually see this candle push up now. So I would say if you are trading this thing on leverage, okay, and you start losing that zone, 1.4. Okay, that could indicate a little bit of danger here for you. They might want to then start sending you deeper, and that 618 then could potentially come into play for you. So look out then. 1.356. Okay, these are your bullish zones. If this thing's going to break this trend, you're looking for this bounce here. One of these areas it's got to ping here. For me, it's got to be one of these that I would look at. So reclaim 1.422, okay? Lose 1.4. I would say there's a good opportunity or good chance this thing is going to 1.356. Watch that region there carefully. Okay, guys, that was great. I mean, this market it's always surprising us, but it's not surprising because we know they're just causing shit the whole time. And that is the nature of the game. And if you want to be trading, well, hang out with us. It's fun. I mean, we have a good time anyway. And but trading can be quite hectic on the nerves. I'm not going to lie. But guys, you got your levels. You know what you need to see on Bitcoin. You know where we need to bounce. You've got bullish altcoin setup trades. If you get weakness, you're overall bullish on the market. You're looking at those 382s. You're looking at those 618s. Okay, if the market's going to fall over, those levels aren't going to work because the market's designed then to fall over, and they're going to send Bitcoin to 52 or whatever that level is. But right now, my strategy, I'm looking for bounces, 382, 618. I'm playing the game. I'm going to TP Bitcoin anywhere in this region. You won't see that short open tomorrow. I can assure you I'll probably be in some kind of long there. And that is my current strategy. So looking for longs. Good luck. It's wild out there. See you guys tomorrow.